Meet the new all-electric EQS SUV, which is Mercedes' answer to the iconic Tesla Model X. The EQS SUV from Mercedes should start hitting dealerships in late 2022, and when it comes to price points, it should be priced very similarly to the Tesla Model X. So since it's priced similarly, how does it compare to the Tesla Model X? In this video, I'm going to dive into some of the unique features and the technology built into the EQS SUV, and then I'm going to compare that to the Model X when it comes to range and efficiency, charging speed, passenger space, cargo room, and also performance. In the end, I want to answer the question, is the Mercedes EQS all-electric SUV better than the Tesla Model X? I'm John, and welcome to Cleanerwatt. Mercedes is definitely taking EVs seriously, and the EQS SUV is no exception. When it officially rolls off the production lines in Alabama later this year, it's definitely going to be a great competitor to the Tesla Model X. The EQS SUV is built off of the same dedicated electric platform as the EQS sedan is, and when you take a look at the two vehicles side by side, the visual similarities are very obvious. Size-wise, when it comes to length, the EQS sedan is actually around 3.6 inches longer than the SUV. However, the SUV sits about 8.1 inches taller as compared to the sedan. When you compare its size to the Tesla Model X, the EQS SUV is actually a bit longer, taller, and has a longer wheelbase than the Model X. It's obviously quite a bit larger than the Tesla Model Y as well. Its overall exterior style looks very similar to the rest of the Mercedes SUV lineup, but unlike its gas-powered counterparts, it features a very iconic smooth front grille with a Mercedes logo repeating pattern built in. Now, when it comes to which exterior is better between the EQS SUV and the Tesla Model X, that's really a matter of taste and opinion, so I'm going to leave that up to you. However, when it comes to the interior of the vehicles, obviously there is still an issue of preference and taste here, and some people might prefer the Model X interior over the EQS SUV interior. But I believe it's very obvious when it comes to luxury feel and features that the EQS SUV clearly outshines the Model X in that category. Unlike the Model X, the EQS SUV offers optional features like massage seats, and in addition to ventilated front seats, the EQS even offers optional ventilated power and heated rear seats. In addition, you can't talk about the interior of the EQS SUV without talking about the huge 56-inch curved glass instrument panel, which includes a driver's display, a center infotainment screen, and also a front passenger display. The snappy and responsive infotainment system is powered by an 8-core CPU with 24 gigabytes of RAM. In addition, if you want to take luxury to the next level for your second row passengers, you can equip the back seats of the EQS SUV with the optional rear seat infotainment system, which adds screens to the back of the two front seats, and also a removable tablet built into the middle armrest of the second row seats. For those who like genuine leather seats, the EQS SUV also offers a real Napa leather seating choice in addition to a vegan interior choice. There are also two other unique, interesting features built into the EQS that I want to talk about. The first is the fact that it offers 4-wheel steering option, which allows you standard to move the rear wheels about 4.5 degrees, or if you pay for the upgrade, they can move up to 10 degrees. You can also get optional running boards on the side of the SUV to help you step in to the vehicle easier. Now, luxury is one thing, but what about passenger and cargo room? I believe that's also really important for an SUV because you can have all the premium features, but if you have less cargo and less passenger room, then I believe you have to take that into account when choosing an SUV. Like the Model X, the EQS SUV offers an optional third row of seating with room for up to 7 passengers. However, it's important to note that just like any other SUV that's in this size category, the third row in the EQS SUV is a little bit tight as compared to the second row of seating. We don't have all the official interior dimensions for the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV just yet, but from what Mercedes did release, the Model X does offer a bit more headroom in all 3 rows, and the Model X offers more legroom for your second row passengers as well. When it comes to cargo room, which I believe is a really important category to talk about when it comes to an SUV, unfortunately, the EQS SUV does not have a front trunk due to a large HEPA air filtration system. And while the EQS rear seats do fold down and offer up to 74.2 cubic feet of cargo room, when you compare that to the Model X, which offers up to 92.3 cubic feet of cargo room with the front trunk included, this makes the EQS's 74.2 cubic feet of cargo space look kind of small. When it comes to range and efficiency, we don't yet have the official EPA range estimates for the EQS SUV, but Mercedes has done some internal testing according to the European WLTP test cycle, and they claim in their official US press release that, quote, depending on the vehicle equipment and configuration, WLTP ranges of more than 600 kilometers, which is somewhere around 373 miles, are possible. Do note that the 373 plus miles of range they mention is likely for the rear-wheel drive model, and the 4MATIC all-wheel drive version will get less range. In addition, the EPA range estimates are generally lower than WLTP figures, so expect these numbers to be lower when the EPA releases those figures. Notice on this chart that even though we have an uneven comparison, a single motor rear wheel drive Mercedes EQS SUV versus dual motor Tesla SUVs, and using the less generous EPA estimates for the ranges of the Model Y and the Model X. Despite this, both Tesla SUVs are more efficient than the Mercedes EQS SUV. However, the EQS SUV does look like it might have the potential to actually be decently more efficient than some of the other electric SUVs on the market. When it comes to another important category, which is charging speed, the Mercedes EQS SUV can charge at up to 200 kilowatts and should be able to charge from a 10% to 80% state of charge in around 31 minutes, according to Mercedes. When you translate this into actual miles of range being added per minute of charging using the range estimates we just mentioned, as compared to the Tesla Model X and the Model Y, the EQS SUV charging speeds look very promising. Nonetheless, we do need to wait for the official EPA figures and the range estimates for the all-wheel drive version of the EQS SUV to really do a more accurate comparison. However, when it comes to a performance comparison between the Model X and the EQS SUV, it's really not even very close at all. The Mercedes EQS SUV 450 Plus is equipped with a single rear motor that puts out around 360 horsepower, while the EQS 580 4MATIC is equipped with dual motors that put out around 544 horsepower. When it comes to horsepower, even the long-range Model X with its 670 horsepower easily beats the EQS, and the Plaid Model X with 1,020 horsepower completely obliterates the horsepower ratings for the EQS SUV. When it comes to how that translates to 0 to 60 mile per hour times, while the EQS SUV performance may be somewhat impressive compared to other SUVs on the market, it's definitely no match for the Model X when it comes to 0 to 60 mile per hour times. Now, one of the topics you might be wondering about is what's the price of the EQS SUV? It's very nice looking. It actually looks very impressive when it comes to specs, but how much is it? Well, unfortunately, official USA pricing has not yet been released. However, we do have some pricing for the EQS sedan, which shares a similar platform, and I expect the starting price of the EQS SUV to be in the same basic ballpark as the EQS sedan. For this reason, I expect the base cost of the EQS SUV before adding any extra features and add-ons to be very close to the Tesla Model X. However, do note that unlike the Tesla Model X and the Model Y, the Mercedes EQS SUV will still be eligible for the full federal tax credit of $7,500 for those who qualify. I did want to make a special note that when it comes to a cost comparison between the Tesla Model X and the EQS SUV, you have to buy the EQS SUV through a dealership, and there will be some potential dealer markups as we've seen with other electric vehicles, especially when they're new. And add to that there will be a number of optional upgrades that will quickly make the price of the EQS SUV much more expensive than it looks like with just a base price. Of course, to be fair, you can add several things like upgraded wheels and the full self-driving package to the Model X, which will also raise the price of that vehicle as well. So with all that being said, I want to answer the question that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and that is really, is the EQS SUV better than the Tesla Model X? The EQS SUV is definitely a great alternative to the Tesla Model X, but in my opinion, the Model X is still overall a better electric SUV and is the vehicle that I would rather own. much in part due to its Falcon Wing doors, the exclusive Tesla software features, Tesla's supercharging network, and the performance aspects of the Model X. But as I mentioned earlier, for those who want a more luxurious SUV, the EQS is definitely a great option, and it's more luxurious than the Tesla Model X. Do let me know in the comments section below, which electric SUV would you rather own between the EQS SUV and the Tesla Model X? Well, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Patreon supporters who support me every month and help make this content possible. A special thank you to my performance supporters and also the other supporters listed on the screen. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community I've set up, I'll put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.